Hey guys, it's Zeal. This video was supposed to be out way earlier. I'm also not sure if it's even going to be out when I'm thinking it's going to be out right now. But I just spent like an hour trying to record. The reason why it wasn't out earlier was because my recording software just wasn't recognizing Dragon Age as a game to record on for some reason, and had to figure out why that was. Pretty sure it was because something didn't update. Just whatever. Anyway, then tonight when I tried recording, the game was acting up again, but for a different reason, and I'm unsure what the reason was. Anyway, the game was being a little finicky. Should be fixed now, and I am not in the Elven area because I thought about it during my time trying to get the videos or get the game working again and whatnot, that I realized that I didn't actually like do any of the party members' quests besides Morrigan, who isn't in render distance for some reason, and I think Alistair, unless his wasn't just going to his sister. But anyway, I'm going to spend the next couple episodes talking to the party and doing their quests if any of them have any. I also was going to make this a longer video, but I think it's going to be a little shorter because I still didn't get the game stable enough for my liking. But I don't want to start with. Maybe Sten.
You are not quite as callow as I thought. That is unexpected.
Thanks, I guess?
You're welcome.
Interesting. Why did you come to Ferelden?
I was sent to be the eyes of the Antom. The Arishok asked what is the Blight. By his curiosity, I am now here.
What is the Arishok?
The one who commands the Antom, the body of the Qunari.
So he's your king?
Qunari have no kings.
I think you're just going to say yes, I forgot what it was called.
Little patience for endless questions.
Fair enough. Why do the Qunari care about the Blight?
Why do you?
Ferelden's my home.
So if this Blight were in Orlais, it could consume the land with impunity. Don't strain yourself pondering that. I do not know why the Arishok sent us. He commands and I go.
Did you find the answer to his question?
A portion of it.
What was the answer?
Were you not at Ostagar when the army was overwhelmed? That is your answer.
Fair enough. Don't you have to report back then?
Yes.
When are you going to do that?
Never. I cannot go home.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Can we move on? We keep the Darkspawn waiting.
What were you doing in that cage? I could have sworn I asked them this already.
Sitting, as you observed.
Do you have to be so literal?
No, it's a choice, not a necessity.
Are you going to answer my question?
I did. Parshera, was there anything else?
Sure. Wanted to discuss something you mentioned?
Speak, then.
Apparently nothing.
Then I suggest we move on.
I apparently have a question.
I am hardly surprised.
Actually, no, I didn't.
Very well. As you wish.
Oh, he didn't like that. Probably the loop of question. Maybe when. So I don't think he has a... Yeah, I don't think he has a high enough approval if he did want to do anything. I don't recall if I have gifts for him. Yeah, let's try when. Did talk to her a little bit.
You're quite taken with each other, aren't you?
You know about Morrigan and me?
Well, she's hardly discreet. The way she looks at you, it's as though she's completely forgotten there's anything of you above the waist.
That's part of her charm.
I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. She is a cunning woman, a Maleficar. She will use you for her own ends.
There's more to us than that.
I am telling you what I see and what my instincts tell me. And even if the feelings you share are genuine, this affair may not be the best thing for either of you. You are a Grey Warden. You have responsibilities which supersede your personal desires.
I'm a human being with emotions, not just a Grey Warden.
Love is ultimately selfish.
What am I, a Jedi?
It demands that one be devoted to a single person who may fully occupy one's mind and heart to the exclusion of all else. A Grey Warden cannot afford to be selfish. You may be forced to make a choice between saving your love and saving everyone else. And then what would you do?
You're making things sound more dire than they are.
Nothing is certain. Not in these times. You cannot take anything for granted. I want you to be aware of this.
I don't want to come off rude, but this one sounds kind of rude. Because it kind of sounds like straight, mildly rude, neutral, and fully in agreement with her. Morgan and I can handle whatever comes our way.
If you insist, I have given my advice. Do with it what you will. What's on your mind?
Have you changed your mind about Morgan and me?
I have watched you for a time, and perhaps I was wrong. There seems to be something special between the two of you. It doesn't happen often, but I see her smile to herself sometimes when she watches you.
Okay, now I get it now. That was probably a conversation for, like, earlier in the, I guess, romance with Morgan, when Morgan was more into just the passion of it, not so much the love side of it. And this is, I guess, it further along, and she now doesn't just see me below the waist. Does she? Oh, how sweet. I have to tease her now.
I think I was too harsh in my judgment before, and I am sorry.
You better be. You wanted the best for both of us.
What you have may not last forever. Death and duty may part you, but love's worthiness is not diminished because of that. I should have seen this before. Instead, you learn to cherish every precious moment that you spend together, knowing that it may be the last. And for those of us watching, well, it brings warmth to these old bones to know that something so beautiful can be found in the midst of chaos and strife. What's on your mind?
Yeah, the spirit thing. Why did the spirit choose to help you?
I have always had an affinity for the spirits of the Fade. As a child, I never feared my dreams because I knew they were there.
What about demons?
I could sense the demons, too, and their presence frightened me. It was the kindly spirits of the Fade that took the fear from me. I've always been able to feel the spirits, even if I never saw them. And as I nurtured my talent in the circle, I became more sensitive. I began to notice every time I was in the Fade, whether it was in a dream or in magical practice, that I was being watched.
Do spirits watch people like that?
I suppose they must. It is these benevolent spirits that create our dream worlds in the Fade. Sometimes I would see it, a glowing, nebulous form. Most times I would just feel its presence, gentle and comforting, but somehow alien. I think it is a spirit of faith. They have never been seen before, and perhaps I am wrong. But something tells me I'm not. It always felt like the same entity. This one spirit was curious about me, and was guarding me, for want of a better word.
Well, aren't you special? You're very lucky.
There were times when I was in the Fade that it seemed to stretch forth to shield me, keeping me safe. And I think it gave me strength in my most terrible battles, Ostagar being one of them.
And also in your fight with Petra's demon. I vaguely remember that.
I don't know why I was chosen. Perhaps it knew that there was something more that lay in store for me. I like to think that I was given a rare chance, and I'm going to make the best of the time so generously given to me.
I'm glad you think traveling with me is worthy of your time.
I will not lie motionless in a bed with coverlets up to my chin, waiting for death to claim me. That is not the death for me. And so I will fight alongside the Grey Warden, and help prepare him for the task that is yet before him. So you had better listen to me, because I swear, if I should fall before the end and you don't seem to be doing things properly, I'll get up again to give you a good finger wagging.
I'll hold you to that promise.
You know, I think you'll be all right, even without my help.
I don't know if it was just me, but all of her responses to my dialogue choices did not feel like direct responses to that specific dialogue choice. Like I think since there was like 3 for most of them, one probably got some response from her, and the other 2's just circled back to the same response. Because it literally just seemed like I was speaking to her, and she was just continuing her sentence. I was like, oh yeah, that's wild. You spirit protecting you? Anyway, as I was saying.
What's on your mind?
Was there something we could do to cure you?
Cure me? What, am I sick now?
You're a little dead. I guess death isn't an illness, is it?
Even you know that you cannot cure the dead. And I'm not the only one dying. You are too. I'm just more efficient about it. Ah, child. Your concern is heartwarming. But death comes to everyone, and it is not something to fear.
You're not afraid?
People fear not death, but having life taken from them. Many waste the life given to them, occupying themselves with things that do not matter. When the end comes, they say they did not have time enough to spend with loved ones, to fulfill dreams, to go on adventures they only talked about. But why should you fear death if you are happy with the life you have led? If you can look back on everything and say, yes, I am content, it is enough.
Are you content?
I think I've led a good life, a full life, and I, for one, am not afraid of death, whatever it may bring. They say that when you die, your spirit travels through the Fade and returns to the Maker. And after that, we'll see, won't we? What's on your mind?
Is this all her conversation? Is just talking about death and being old? Do you have any regrets at all?
I try not to dwell too much on the mistakes of my past, of which there are many. I would go quite mad if I did that. But I do have one regret. The greatest misstep of my life, made even more grave because it had dire consequences for someone else.
Tell me, it might make you feel better.
Years ago, I was assigned as mentor to a lad, Anaren. He was my first apprentice. Anaren was an elf, raised in one of the elven alienages, and he was very mistrustful of humans, especially humans in authority.
But the mages treat elves and humans alike.
All he knew of the humans was what he had seen in the alienage. He was very wary of us. What Anaren needed was time. Time to get used to his new home. Time to emerge from his shell, so we could build a rapport. I gave him no such time. I was young and arrogant. He is a mage, I thought. He needs to grow up and act like one. I expected too much from him, too quickly. I gave no consideration to his origin or his feelings, and he retreated further from me. All I could think of was how stubborn he was, how he was throwing away all his talent and his potential just to be difficult.
Was he talented?
Oh, very much so. Sometimes I would catch him practicing on his own, but if I asked him to show me what he could do, he would freeze up or fumble terribly. You cannot plant crops in the cold, wintry ground. You cannot teach a student who is closed off and unresponsive. Patience is what is needed, and I learned that too late to help him.
What happened to the guy?
Anaren ran away from the circle one night. I had berated him over some trivial, ridiculous matter that I no longer remember. I drove him away because of something utterly unimportant. He was a child, 14 at the time of his leaving. They had his phylactery, and they hunted him down.
Why didn't they just bring him back to the tower?
They called him Maleficar, a mage who practices forbidden magic, deserving of death. He was a child, misunderstood and lost. I begged the Templars to tell me if he suffered, if they gave him a quick death. I got no answers from them. I was his mentor, and they wouldn't even tell me what became of him.
It's not your fault, Lynn.
I should have known better. I had the best mentors. They were kind, compassionate. Why didn't I learn from them? I failed Anaren. All I had to do was listen to him. He would try to talk to me, and I would tell him to concentrate on his spells. He talked about the alienage sometimes, and the Dalish. He always talked about looking for the Dalish elves.
Maybe he did find the Dalish.
The Templars are well trained and thorough. That he still lives, it would be a vain hope. The apprentices that came after Anarin benefited greatly from the lessons I learned from him. In a sense, he was my teacher, and I his student.
See, there's a bright side.
And there it is. My story, my one greatest regret.
Yeah, that kid is 100%. Anarin, whatever, is 100% not dead. Maybe if I take her to the Dalish.
Something I can help with?
I think you should go. What would someone like you be doing in the Lothering Chantry?
What is meant by someone like me?
They don't teach you how to fight in the cloister, do they?
Did you think I was always a cloistered sister? The Chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed.
Affirmed?
We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the Chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken.
So your skills were learned before your time in the Chantry.
I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on.
Interesting.
Something I can help with?
I'd like to talk to you about something.
Yes? What's on your mind?
Do you miss anything in Orlais? About Orlais?
I miss Val Royeaux. Unlike other cities where the people are the lifeblood and the character, Val Royeaux was her own person, and her people little more than decorations. There was always music in Val Royeaux, streaming from the many windows, quiet refrains and triumphant choruses, and always, floating above that all, the chant, coming from the Grand Cathedral. It was magnificent.
It is not. Though I'm biased, considering the game can't run it for some reason. It sounds wonderful.
Oh, it would take me a day or two to talk about the many splendors of Orlais, her golden fields, her lush meadows. Of course there are good things and bad things about Orlais, like anywhere else. Sometimes I miss it dearly, and sometimes I'm glad I'm rid of it. And you will laugh at this, but I miss the fine things I had in Orlais.
Do you not have fine things now?
I left behind much, leaving Orlais. But there is more to life than dresses and furs. It is sad that many have lost sight of this. Orlais is very fashionable, almost ridiculously so. But the shoes! Living with those ridiculous trends was worth it for the shoes.
No, I love shoes. Were they ridiculous shoes?
Sometimes. About 10 years ago, all the ladies went mad for shoes with soles as large and heavy as bricks. But it isn't always that silly. When I left Orlais, the fashion was shoes with delicate tapered heels and embellishments in the front. A ribbon, perhaps, or embroidery. In soft colors, of course. It was spring.
Wouldn't that be hard to walk in?
I wouldn't want to run in it, or have to enter battle, but for lounging in a lady's sitting room? Perfect. The shoes made in Orlais were exquisite. Not at all like these clunky fur-lined leather boots you have in Ferelden. Ugh, just look at them.
They're comfortable.
They're sturdy shoes, but sometimes a girl just wants to have pretty feet. Oh, I could talk about shoes all day, but we have things to do, don't we? Something I can help with?
Yes.
Yes? What's on your mind?
I heard that in Orlais, minstrels are often spies.
Where did you hear this?
Everywhere. And I read it in a history book.
And did you not think that this could be historical fact and no longer true? Not all minstrels are spies. Most are just singers and storytellers, but some of them are what we call bards.
And the bards are the spies. I thought minstrels were bards.
Many use the two words minstrel and bard interchangeably, but to do so in Orlais would cause misunderstanding. Bards are minstrels and more. Spies, as you say. Some say there is a bard order, but I don't think this is true. Many bards work alone or in small groups, doing the bidding of a patron who pays for their services. If there is an organization behind it all, no one knows who they are.
What sort of services does a bard offer?
What do you think? They infiltrate, steal, sometimes assassinate? It depends on the bard. In Orlais, there is much rivalry amongst the highborn. They fight over land, influence, and the favor of the Empress. But they cannot do this openly because it is impolite, and in public, they wear smiling faces and pretend to be civil. In secret, they plot and scheme to destroy each other. It is a game completely meaningless to anyone but its players.
I knew it. You were a bard, weren't you?
I have revealed too much, it seems, but it doesn't matter what I used to be. It is the past.
So that's where you learned to fight like that.
My skills served me well, but the day finally came when I decided to just put them aside. I found myself in Ferelden and sheltered from bad weather in the Chantry, and when the storm passed, I just did not want to leave. I like to say the Maker brought me here.
Just rub the ends there, sure.
Something I can help with?
Can you teach me to be a bard?
I don't think you have the correct aptitude. I could give you some pointers, though. You may be able to pass them on to someone you know. Let's just go over there, away from the others. For safety, yes? I expect there shall be daggers flying about willy-nilly for a time.
Good. One of the two? Yeah, isn't it just her and Zevran? Where was I thinking Zevlor? Is that Baldur's Gate? Whatever.
Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind?
You were a traveling minstrel. Do you have tales to share?
Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think.
Do you know any stories from Orlais?
Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Orlais.
Yeah, actually, never mind. Sounds interesting.
A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot.
I saw that coming.
Many legends have familiar forms and themes. We enjoy them so because we know them. Avelin's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the Grand Tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the Grand Tourney, but Aveline kept her helmet on and was not discovered.
Go on.
Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Kaleva in the Grand Melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Kaleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Kaleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Kaleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Kaleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat.
Well, that, I was hoping for a happy ending.
The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Orlais so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier.
Interesting. Let's move on. I'd kind of imagine Ogren's quest would have been going to the deep roads, but maybe he has more.
Come to talk to old Ogren, have you? Don't know why.
I'm not sure either. I mean, I think I already technically know how he fights. Can you teach me how to fight like you do?
You want to be a berserker? Thought I'd never see the day. I'll teach you. Just be ready. To be a berserker, you have to face your own inner rage. Let the spirit of battle take over. And all that dust. There's a whole pile of philosophical rot that goes behind it. But the bedrock is this. Get real mad and kill things.
Tell me more about berserkers.
What the sod is there to know? You get mad, you fly into battle, and things die. It's pretty simple. The hard part is getting in touch with your rage. We all learn to hold that back. It's why we don't kill every duster who looks at us sideways. You need to shut that off. For some people, being in battle is enough. But others have to think about something. Violence, monsters, nobles, your wife, whatever.
Your wife?
Especially my wife.
Just thinking about it works?
Well, for most berserkers it does. Several years ago, I worked with a berserker on one expedition who just couldn't work himself up. We had to kick him in the stones before he could get going.
Why would you want to fight that way?
Why not? When you fight, you get mad. By the stone, it's a sodding tactic to enrage your enemy so he makes a mistake, right? Berserkers grab that anger and drink it like it's yesterday's ale. Then we turn it against our foes and watch the limbs fly.
And just thinking angry thoughts makes that happen.
Well, for most berserkers it
Yeah,
does.
I just repeated that.
Several
underline.
years ago, I worked...
I'd like to learn how to be a berserker.
I can teach you what gets my hackles in a twist, but no one can tell you what'll set off that killing rage in you. Finding that is the key to berserking. Once you got that, I tell you, the ladies love it when you're all mysteriously angry for no reason. Trust me. You're a quick study, Warden. You must have been seriously steamed up about something for a long time.
I'd like to know more about you.
What about?
Are you sure you're fine with what happened with the Bronca?
Oh, sure. I'm fine with it. I mean, she was a real firebrand between the sheets, but a bit soft in the skull, you know what I mean? Explains why she left, anyway.
I imagine she wasn't that crazy when she left.
Oh, you don't know her. She was cracked like a glass floor. Before she was a paragon, I mean. After that, she really fell apart. I mean, she leaves me and flits about with that water-dart Hespith. What's she got that I don't? Just the thought of the two of them together, kissing and licking and intertwined on the floor of the deep roads. Yeah, I'm just gonna go back to the tent for a moment. Excuse me.
Well done. That cheese looks so fake. Well, slightly uneventful video. I was kind of hoping for one of them to be like, well, a tragic backstory. I mean, I guess technically I did. Wynn wants to do something, but it's just to go back to the elves. But, I'm gonna keep talking to them in the next video as well. Because I think I'm just gonna take a little bit of a break progressing through the story. Because I also don't want to miss out on any things. I could have sworn I was already talking to a few of them, but I guess maybe from a crash or something, maybe I didn't save. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.